I still remember sitting in a bar when I first saw it happen. He didn't say much, didn't lean in, didn't do the nervous laugh, or the check the phone dance, or there was that funny glance men throw when they're not sure they're enough. He just sat there calm, unmoved, half listening. She was beautiful in that sharp, sculpted way that makes men forget who they are. But he didn't. And that's when it started. Her eyes changed, like something ancient had woken up. The more he didn't chase, the more she leaned in. The more he leaned back, the more her voice softened. Not to flirt, but to please. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to stop caring whether she likes you, and why that's the moment she starts needing your approval more than you ever needed hers. It begins with the silent death of the man you've been taught to be. The guy who measures his worth by her response. You know him. He mirrors her smile, studies her tone, adjusts himself like clay under heat. You've done it. Everyone has. She pulls back. You try harder. She's cold. You warm up. She disappears, and your world cracks like thin glass under a winter boot. And here's the brutal truth the moment you adjust yourself to fit into her perception. You've made her the authority over your value. She doesn't have to reject you. You've already abandoned yourself. And she feels it. It's not conscious. It's biological. A woman senses when a man abandons his center. She may not be able to name it, but she can feel the rot. She might not know why she's turned off, but she will be. Because attraction isn't about performance, it's about presence. And when your presence bends around her moods, her tests, her attention, you're no longer a presence. You're a reaction. Think about the men she can't forget. Not the nice ones. Not the ones who adored her, agreed with her, gave her the power to decide. No. The ones who didn't explain. The ones who made her wonder. The ones who walked out without a speech. The ones who left her staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., whispering. Why didn't he care more? You want to be that man? Then stop explaining. Stop negotiating. Stop asking for her understanding. You don't need her to agree with you. You don't need her to see you a certain way. You're not here to prove your worth. You are the standard. This doesn't mean arrogance. This means silence, stillness. Not absence of words, but absence of need. When you speak because you believe it. When you move because it's your path. When she questions you, you don't defend, you just keep going. There's a kind of peace a woman feels around a man who isn't trying to impress her. It confuses her. Then it consumes her. Because it makes her wonder, why doesn't he need my validation? And that question, if left unanswered, becomes an obsession. But if you give her the answer, if you explain your confidence, justify your strength, or try to lead with transparency you've already lost, she'll nod, smile, say you're a good man, and then disappear. She can't follow a man who follows her opinion of him. She wants the mountain, not the mirror. And don't make the mistake of thinking this is about playing hard to get. It's not a trick. It's not a delay tactic. It's not about pretending not to care. If you're pretending, she'll feel the performance. And that's even worse. Because now she knows you want to be seen as strong, which means you're not. No, this is deeper. You care. You still love her. Maybe. You still remember the warmth of her breath against your neck, the sound she made when she laughed against your chest. But you're done asking her to choose you. You've already chosen yourself. And here's the paradox. When you stop orbiting her emotions, she starts revolving around your gravity. She wants to decode you, test you, provoke you. See if you'll break your silence, explain your distance. Come back to the leash. And if you do, if you blink first, she'll know it was never real. But if you don't, something ancient shifts in her. A respect, a curiosity, a longing she doesn't understand. She'll start sending breadcrumbs, subtle ones. A song posted to her story, a like on an old photo, a message that says nothing but everything, and you'll feel the pull. That's the test. That's when most men cave. They want closure. They want to be wanted. So they pounce. But a man who's truly let go doesn't chase crumbs. He doesn't need her to prove she regrets. He doesn't need to win. He already won because he didn't abandon himself to get her back. You want to win her soul. Let her feel the absence of your need, not the absence of your love, the absence of your dependency. There's a difference. Love without dependency is power. Love with dependency is weakness dressed up as passion. One makes her feel safe, the other makes her feel trapped. And if she feels trapped, she runs. Even if she doesn't know why. It's brutal, but it's reality. The more you seek her approval, the more she loses respect. The more you seek her desire, the more she loses desire. But the moment you reclaim your time, your silence, your sovereignty, something shifts. Not because she misses you, but because you remind her of what she thought didn't exist anymore, a man who doesn't flinch when she pulls away. She's not used to it. Most men scramble when she's cold. Most men over-explain when she seems distant. Most men get louder when she grows quiet. But you don't. You're still, and that silence, your refusal to collapse, starts eating at her. She wants to know why you're not breaking. Is he seeing someone else? Was I never that important? Did I overplay my hand? Those questions start circling in her mind like wolves. Not because you've punished her, not because you've ghosted her, but because you've stopped proving. You've stopped auditioning. You've stopped living in the frame of her perception. And when a man stops caring whether she likes him, she begins to wonder if he likes her. This is where her obsession begins, not when you distance yourself physically, but when you disappear emotionally. When she realizes she no longer has the power to shake you. No access to your mood, no key to your emotional thermostat. You've reclaimed the fortress. And in that moment, the balance shifts. You become the mystery. Not the problem to solve, but the standard to meet. She starts rehearsing her messages, rethinking every word, staring at her screen, typing, deleting, typing again. Because now she's trying to impress you. But you don't reward the effort. Not with approval, not with flattery, not with eagerness. You see it, you feel it, but you don't collapse into it, and the silence grows louder. Here's the part no one tells you when you stop needing her affection. You finally allow her to feel yours. Not the weak, performative affection of a man begging to be chosen, but the grounded affection of a man who chooses to give not because he's starving, but because he's full. That's when she softens. Not with manipulation, not with seduction, but with sincerity. Her voice changes. Her defenses lower. She starts asking questions that matter. Not where are you, but what are you thinking? Not are we okay, but are you okay? Because now she's not protecting her ego. She's protecting her connection to you. That connection that used to be your addiction is now hers. But here's where the game turns brutal again. If you go back too fast, if you reward her shift with open arms and gushing words, the magic breaks. She'll feel it. The mask slips. She'll know you were waiting. You were watching. You were hoping she'd chase. That's not power, that's delayed desperation. You need to hold the line. You need to stay rooted. Not because you're playing a game, but because this is who you've become. Not a man who ignores her, but a man who no longer distorts himself to please her. You're not bitter. You're not angry. You're just not available to anything that makes you betray yourself. And that includes her. The world has taught you that love means bending, pleasing, submitting, happy wife, happy life. They told you the more agreeable you are, the more attractive you'll be. But they lied. Women don't want a yes man. They don't crave compliance, they want to feel you. And they can't feel a man who's always adjusting to them. They want to sense your edges, your silence, your sovereignty. They want to feel your refusal to become something smaller just to keep them close. That refusal, that terrifying masculine stillness is what pulls them in. Because when she's with you, she doesn't want to lead. She doesn't want to babysit your confidence. She wants to melt. She wants to fall. She wants to be undone by a man who cannot be undone by her. And you can't fake that. You can't just act indifferent. You can't script this. Women are biologically tuned to sense emotional incongruence. You say you're over it, but your eyes flicker to your phone every time it buzzes. You say you're focused, but you're still stalking her stories. You say you've let go, but your every move whispers, "Please come back." She knows. That's why you don't pretend. You transform. You build a life so rich in direction, mission, purpose, and solitude that her presence is a bonus, not a cure. You stop asking if you're enough. You start asking what you were made to do. And when she sees that, when she feels the weight of a man who no longer spins around her gravity, she either levels up or fades out. Either way, you win. Because this isn't about getting her back. This is about becoming a man she can't access unless she brings real peace, real warmth, real devotion. Not performance, not manipulation, not crumbs of affection to keep you orbiting. You don't orbit anymore. You lead, and if she can't follow, you keep walking. Not out of cruelty, but because your direction matters more than her opinion. That's not selfish. That's masculine. The man who lets go of needing to be liked becomes irresistible because he's free. And freedom is what every woman wants to touch, but few can hold. Not because he plays hard to get, but because he is hard to get. Not in availability, but in essence. You're not a reward. You're a reality. And the deeper she feels your self-respect, the more she questions her own value in your presence. Does she deserve this man? Has she earned his attention? What must I do to not lose this again? That's not manipulation. That's polarity. The feminine wants to be pulled, but only by a man who doesn't flinch. You don't flinch anymore. You don't flinch anymore, and that changes everything. Not just with her, but with the way you carry yourself through the world. You're no longer the man who asks, "Is this okay?" You're the man who walks through the room with his own silent standard and lets everyone else decide if they can meet it. And here's what they never prepared you for when you no longer seek her attention. You start getting it from places you didn't even know existed. It's like something invisible realigns. Eyes turn. Energy shifts. Other women notice. Not because you've become louder, but because you've become still, magnetic, unreadable. And the one who used to ignore you? She notices too. But this time, not with casual glances or delayed replies. This time, it hits her like a memory she can't shake. She starts scrolling your feed, not out of curiosity, but out of need. Her imagination fills in the silence with scenes she can't confirm. Is he with someone else? Is he really happy? Did he ever even care? And now she's the one chasing closure. This is the moment she comes back, not always physically, but emotionally. Her energy shifts. She starts reappearing in your orbit. Not to reconnect, but to test whether she still has you. This is the trap most men fall into. You see the message, you feel the pulse, you remember the warmth. And before you know it, you're back in the old rhythm reacting, proving, explaining. But the man you've become, he doesn't go back. Not to be cruel, not to punish, but because the version of you that needed her no longer exists. And if she wants to come closer now, she has to meet you on your terms. Not the old terms of you chasing her approval, but the new reality where your respect is the gateway. She has to earn your clarity. Because the truth is brutal, most men think women leave because of what they did wrong. But more often, they leave because of what they sensed. The weakness, the over-explaining, the hunger in your eyes, the way your voice shifted when she frowned, the way you'd pause your whole life just to answer her call. That wasn't love, that was fear, and she felt it. But when that fear dies, when you stop waiting for her to smile before you feel whole, something sacred is born. It's not arrogance. It's not detachment. It's sovereignty. And sovereignty can't be faked. You either have it or you don't. You either look her in the eye with nothing to hide or you crumble the moment she goes quiet. You either speak your truth without needing her applause or you shape your words like clay, hoping she'll call you safe. But she doesn't want safe. She wants true, even if it terrifies her. even if it threatens her illusion of control. Because deep down, every woman is wired to surrender to a man who refuses to bend for approval. That's what she's been craving. That's what all her little games were about. The delays, the subtle jabs, the silence. She wasn't trying to drive you away. She was trying to find your edge. She was hoping you'd push back. That you'd say, "No, I don't move like that." But you didn't. You folded. And the moment you did, you became invisible to her. She doesn't want a man who disappears into her moods. She wants a man who remains unmoved, unshaken, unbent. Not because he's cold, but because he's clear. That kind of clarity burns through all the noise. It makes her question every choice she's made since she walked away. And when she comes back, and she will, it won't be with fireworks. It will be with something quieter. A message, a glance, a song, hey, just checking in. Don't read into it. Don't take the bait. Just observe. She's not reaching out to reconnect. She's reaching out to see if you've moved on without her. And the answer should be yes. Yes, you've moved on from the version of you that was waiting. Yes, you've outgrown the need to be chosen. Yes, you've built something sacred within yourself, and you don't trade that just to feel wanted again. You're not here to be wanted. You're here to walk in truth. And that truth is this: the moment you stop caring whether she likes you, is the moment she begins to crave your respect. Not your attention, not your time, your respect. Because that's the currency of a man who's done bleeding for approval. You've stopped trying to be her type. Now you are the type. And from here on out, you never chase what walks away from your truth. You don't explain yourself to people who aren't listening. You don't water yourself down just to keep someone thirsty. You become the storm. You become the silence after the storm. And you let her decide whether she wants to walk through the wreckage to find the man who never begged.